Hello and welcome to Connected, episode 358. It's made possible this week by our sponsors, Pingdom, Indeed, and Mack Weldon. My name is Stephen Hackett, and I'm joined by Mr. Myke Hurley.
Hello.
Hello.
I have returned.
And we have traded you for Federico.
It's Federico's birthday this week.
Yes.
And so, if you remember, back to olden times, we would do this in the summer. It becomes silly season on Connected, and we all start taking weeks off. And last summer, that didn't really happen, I think, at all. And this year, it's happening a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So you were off, then I was off. Now Federico's off, and then next week,
we're all off. No, I'm just kidding.
Next week, the show ends.
Next week, you get ATP in this feed.
No, next week, we're all back together, and we'll be celebrating Relay FM's seventh birthday.
And we have some very exciting stuff to announce next week on Connected, yes. So look out for that. So if you want to be involved and wish Federico a happy birthday, I would say send him a tweet with the weird fish emoji in it.
You know what might be better?
What would be better? Or stop
just
tweeting.
Any of the other fish.
Oh. Send non-weird fish emoji to Federico. Normal fish. Standard fish-shaped fish.
There's lots of fish. There's lots of them. Just send him one of those.
How many fish emoji are there?
Lots, actually. There's like regular fish, and then there's other types of fish, and there's fish on a line. There's a lot of fish.
Emojipedia fish.
Searching now. Whoop.
Oh, yeah, fish, tropical fish, blowfish, and fishing pole.
Yep. Or fish cake. But that one, less of a fish and more of an afterfish.
Post-fish experience.
And then depending on how you define it, you've got like shark.
It's not a fish.
There's a blowfish.
Yeah, it's a fish.
And there are flags that look like fish. Thank you to Kobathor in the Discord for providing all of those.
And then there's the band. That's a different thing.
There's no emoji for that.
Well, it is. It's a old man emoji.
Ooh.
Moving on. Last week, Federico and I spoke about YouTube Premium Lite coming to some countries in the European area of the world. and we had this...
I think it was in the Benelux countries mostly.
Sure.
And you are now wondering, is Myke making something up? Have you ever heard that phrase before, Benelux?
It's like Belgium, Luxembourg, that little stretch.
And a no country.
The country of
no in the middle, you know?
It's the country of salt, because salt's abbreviation on the periodic table is Na.
Thanks, nerd.
Well, not salt, no. What is salt? Oh, gosh, I've really messed this up. Salt.
Yeah, you've messed this up so bad because, one, it's spelled Bene. It's not even Bena. It's Benelux, not Benelux.
Salt is sodium chloride, NaCl. I was close.
Knuckle. So it's Benelux.
That'll also be in the show notes. So we're talking about YouTube Premium Lite, and we went down this big rabbit hole of, I wonder if this will include picture-in-picture. Federico and I both totally forgot that basically everyone is going to get picture-in-picture. It's starting out.
This was one of those things. I got to be a listener, right, to the last episode, which I do actually always enjoy being a listener to the episode. And I got to have one of those moments where I'm talking back at you, you know? That's kind of where I was. Oh my God, what's happened to us today? We need Federico. He saves us from this. I had YouTube picture-in-picture on my iPad for 3 days, and then it went away again.
Yeah, I have it everywhere on both my phone and iPad, and it's fantastic.
I hate you for that.
Speaking of Luxembourg, Federico and I sent a call out to see if we had any listeners in Luxembourg, and the answer is no. We had some responses of people who think they're in Luxembourg or sometimes visit it. So listener Cedric VD on Twitter lives in Belgium, but sometimes visits Luxembourg. But they do say they listen to Connected while they're there. So that's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty close.
That's weird. Is that a thing? I keep Connected for when I'm in Luxembourg only?
Maybe.
It's my Luxembourg podcast.
And this sounds like an episode of Ungenius, but it's not. Listener Tyler lives in Luxembourg, Minnesota, but it's spelled differently.
Interesting. I like that.
It has a population of about 600. Get this. His great-grandfather's family moved there from the country of Luxembourg in the early 1900s. Maybe they got confused. Like, oh, there's another Luxembourg. Oh, it's in Minnesota, but it was too late to go back.
Or it's like if we're going to move, we may as well move to Luxembourg.
Like New England, New York, New Jersey.
Yeah. It's like, well, we know we like Luxembourg, but we have to leave. So let's just go to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently scrolling through our hosting provider to ascertain if we do actually have any listeners from Luxembourg.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done that, but that was a lot of work.
The answer is 142 people.
Sweet.
Apparently listened to an episode. Let me see about. Maybe I should check last week's episode specifically.
Check last week's episode, yeah,
because they may not have gotten to it yet, right? It would be honestly, I would be quite disappointed if that number's correct and not one of them reached out. You know, I feel like I would be excited about that. Okay, 9. There are 9 people who listened to last week's episode from Luxembourg.
So look, the 9 of you, assuming you were using a VPN to get into Luxembourg, you need to let us know who you are.
Can you imagine? Maybe that's like a long con, right? There's just like 4 people from like, I don't know, some Australia, and they're doing the Luxembourg thing because we spoke about it. But
maybe.
I'm disappointed in those 9 people from Luxembourg, honestly.
Come on, y'all.
This was your time to shine.
Represent your tiny country.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Luxembourg except the size. It's really nice, isn't it? Is it nice?
Luxembourg? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've never been there.
I mean, luxury's right in the name.
Oh, boy. It's also full of robots, hence the Borg. That also exists in the name. Ottobox is making a MagSafe game controller clip. So this is more really information for Federico. I think people have probably sent this to him too. I did want to state, I'm meaning to tell Federico this privately, but forgot.
Speak to him right now, directly.
I know, I'm doing it now. He was talking about issues of pains in his hands when playing games for a long time with his iPhone, right? I'm not sure that mounting a phone to a game controller is going to make that better. Because I think the main issue with this stuff is the weight. I've always found it's like one of my main issues with this stuff is like heavy devices. So like mounting the game controller like underneath the phone, I think it's going to add a lot of weight and would actually put pressure on his wrists. So I'd be keen to know if it ends up, because he was saying it was his wrists more than his fingers that were hurting him, which would suggest to me that it wasn't the fact that the button placement was on screen, but that he was holding the phone for so long and playing it. So I'll be keen to see if it works for him, this thing. But I do wonder if he's already got the MagSafe Ottobox thing on order, probably. Cause,
maybe.
You know, he loves MagSafe.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be easier to like get in and out of this mode if you just like plop it on there with the magnet. The thing he had like clamps and stuff on it. I mean,
it clamps, yeah.
So yeah, the MagSafe, that's a really good idea. Way to go, Otterbox. They're smart people over there. They make a lot of cool things.
Well, they own
PopSocket.
Well, they have the strategic partnership with Is it PopSocket? Yeah, I think it is.
I think they do.
Federico asked why no space gray for the new Magic Keyboard, and I was kind of surprised that you didn't mention this specifically. Again, I'm being like a really annoying listener this week.
No, I love feedback. Remember, you can email me on
I can't believe nobody mentioned.
Why is no one talking about this?
Why is nobody talking about this? That there probably is no space gray for the new Magic Keyboards because they're going to wait to do those for Pro machines, I would expect.
Maybe.
So the new Magic Keyboards with Touch ID, there'll be like a black one if they have a black iMac Pro or something in the future.
I had the thought the other day. I had my next cube out doing something with it, and which you'll find out about sooner or later.
What could it be?
And I thought, this is what the new Mac Pro should be. Like, just it's too big. It's huge.
From the image that you sent me, like I could say the texture of it seems a bit gross looking to me.
Oh yeah, it is. But I mean, like just like a black box.
Right. You wouldn't want it to keep that style of your one?
I don't know. I mean, I love mine.
I think I would like it to, personally. Keep that kind of, even though I don't like all of the holes, I think I would like it to keep that aesthetic because it does look cool, even though it also freaks me out.
You can just like reach down there and feel them. They're very smooth inside. I got them on the back of my display too.
You don't cut yourself on one of those?
No.
No?
Who do you think made this? It's very smooth. Did we actually answer what you said about keyboards? Oh, wait for a Pro machine. Yeah.
Pro machines. Yeah, I think it's going to be Pro machines is when you get the gray ones.
I bought my wife one of those keyboards. It showed up the other day. set up really easily. So now she has Touch ID when her computer's in clamshell mode. She's excited about it. Sometimes I upgrade things in her setup and there's not a lot of feedback about it. But this time she was pretty psyched about it.
Well, a lot of the time it is just a minor annoyance.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I need your computer for 2 hours so I can migrate your stuff to it.
It's like, I don't want this. I don't want what you're doing for me. Also, again, more feedback for you. So my keyboard under the desk,
Yes.
it is Velcro attached. That's how I do that. It's like sticky Velcro tape. I do like the feeling that it makes me feel like a Bond villain when I turn my computer on. And I needed to charge it for the first time a couple of days ago. But it was totally fine because the yellow braided cable reaches perfectly from the power outlet that I've got on my desk with a USB, like a plug adapter, just to charge it because I have the lightning port is facing towards me, so I could just plug it in. Perfect.
I'm happy that it's worked out for you.
I'm very happy with this solution. I would still though like them to just make a wireless Touch ID button, just a button, and that's it. Be a really great fidget toy.
It could be really cool too. Like it'd have like a top you have to flip up, like in a jet fighter to launch a missile.
Surely one of these like super smart hacker people could like make one of those.
It's in the secure enclave, baby.
Nah, but you know, like the people that like they take apart a PlayStation and put it inside like a Matchbox or whatever, right? Like
I haven't seen that YouTube video.
I just feel like someone should be able to do this.
I want to point people to upgrade episode 365. You really could have done something clever with the Summer of Fun in 365, I thought. But
do you really think, was it the week for fun?
No, because you talked about Apple and the child safety stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You guys did a really good job with it. I listened to the segment, part of it live and the part of it later, and you and Jason basically said anything that I would want to say. So it's actually not going to be in this episode of Connected. I just want to point people there. I think, if I had been on that episode, I would have been in agreement with how y'all handled it, how you spoke about it. It's very complicated. It's okay that there's nuance in it. And if you haven't kept up with this, it's just very complicated. And I think y'all did a good job sort of untangling it for people.
I didn't want to talk about it again today.
Yeah,
as well.
It's heavy and complicated. And
well, I know as well, like if we did it, I'm just going to do another 45 hours where I'm screaming and then I'm going to be tired again. And I've already done that. So people can go check it out. And as you say, like it's incredibly complicated. There's so many points of view. I don't really think there's anything else we could add to it today, particularly. You know, I was thinking about this. Like, I don't really feel like it's a thing that's going to change. Like, it just is what it is, and you can now have your opinion on it. And I think that's kind of going to be the end of it for now.
I think that's fair. One last thing. It's not really follow-up. It's not really follow-out. It's kind of just in between. We have a sale on our Relay FM challenge coins. Go get one.
If you want to celebrate birthday, company birthday, go buy a Relay FM challenge coin. I'll put a link in the show notes there on the Computer.
That's a good segue. I didn't know how to get from CSAM to this, so good job.
Yeah. There isn't. You just got to embrace it.
You got to
like, all right, the next thing is this.
They're really good. You want to hear mine on the desk?
Yep.
Very good.
Well, that sounded like it really went for it. You're going to need a new desk after all this.
I'm very strong.
I could probably do a couple more, actually. Maybe I'll buy some. They're on sale. Now's the time. I have a thing I would like to bring to the former Mac genius, Stephen Hackett. I'm running into some problems with my MacBook Pro, my M1 MacBook Pro, where multiple times a day I get a box that pops up that says your system has run out of application memory.
Just open it up and put more RAM in it.
Yeah, exactly. And then it suggests that I start force quitting applications, and I'm finding this to be very frustrating. It was doing it to me constantly today. I then restarted my computer. It's like, maybe this will help. I don't really know what to do about this. I feel like there's nothing I can do about it. Like, it's not like I have applications open that I don't use. Like, the apps that I have open, they're things that I use multiple times a day, every day, and I don't want to just be quitting apps. So I think, like, for me personally, I have answered the question. Remember we had that question, is 16 gigabytes of RAM enough on an M1 MacBook Pro? I'll tell you, the answer is no, because that's what I have in it, and constantly I'm getting this. But it's weird to me because I never get it on my iMac.
So I did some homework on this because it's also come up a good bit in the MPU forums.
Right.
It definitely seems more likely to happen to people with 8 gigabytes of memory, as you would imagine. And it seems like some people don't have this problem at all, or you have it all the time. And there's nothing in between for whatever reason.
Interesting. I've been having it very frequently recently.
But only on one of your systems, right? And I've never had it on my M1. I don't think Mary's ever had it on hers. And if you do some Googling around, this has actually been a problem that some people have reported since like 2017. So while it may be worse on the M1 Max, it's not...
It's not exclusive to...
yes, that's what we're looking for, not exclusive to them. So I was like, well, did they change something about the way paging works? And not that I can find. So I really don't have a good answer for you.
Okay.
At least that I've seen, Apple doesn't seem to have an answer for this either. Are you good on free space storage-wise?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Like maybe it's trying to page out and you don't have any free SSD space?
I'll go check that during the next ad break, and I'll tell you how much space I have on the SSD. Like that, I guess that could maybe make sense, right? That it hasn't got enough to do. Is it swaps? Is that what it's called? Yeah, maybe that's it. I mean, I can't imagine. And this, again, like sometimes your storage can just get away from you, right? Like you don't really realize what you've got going on.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Pingdom from SolarWinds. If you have a website, what purpose does it serve? Whether it's driving people to your products or collecting sales leads for your company, maybe you're providing customer service through contact forms. When these critical transactions fail, you can lose out on business, not to mention the bad experience it makes for your users. But there's a solution, and that's transaction monitoring from Pingdom. Starting at just $10 a month, transaction monitoring runs checks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and will alert you when cart checkout forms or login pages fail before they affect your customers and your business. Pingdom will notify you the moment there's a failure via SMS, email, or your favorite app like Slack, OpsGenie, or PagerDuty. And depending on what's being monitored or the severity of the outage, you can customize who is alerted and how they get the notifications. So don't let your users discover a problem with your website. You should be the first one to know. It's super easy to get started. Just go to pingdom.com/relayfm right now for a 30-day free trial with no credit card required. And when you're ready to buy, use the code CONNECTED at checkout to get a huge 30% off your first invoice. Our thanks to Pingdom from SolarWinds for their support of the show and Relay FM.
I have 600 gigabytes of free space available, so I don't think that's the issue. Currently, right now, I have 16 gigabytes of memory, 12 gigabytes being used, 3.8 gigabytes of cache files, and 113 megabytes of swap.
None of that sounds bananas to me, I don't think.
Who knows? Maybe like a restart helps every now and then.
Maybe.
I don't know. Because I was noticing some things where like, like Dropbox was like a gigabyte. It's like, that seems like too much. And right now it's at 420, so... blaze it. Safari is a big culprit for me, I think.
I mean, not as bad as Chrome.
Well, because the main like if I look in Activity Monitor for Safari, it's Google Docs and Google Drive seem to be the bigger culprits. I bet that would actually be better in Chrome.
So up next, let's talk about iOS 15 Beta 5.
No Safari changes.
There are a couple like super minor things. I will give a little pro tip here. If you use your phone in dark mode and you don't like the tab bar bouncing between dark and light, you can turn off the setting to use the blur on the bottom tab. It's in the Safari settings, and that helps it stay matching to the dark mode you set your phone in. But yeah, no, it's still Safari 15. It's still bad. It's still mostly terribly unusable.
I mean, they made some tweaks to the iPad, mostly visual ones. It cleaned that up a little bit. The tabs, in my opinion, I'm getting used to it, but they put a new little outline around the address bar. I don't really know why.
Fixed.
I think they're going to ship it.
My thought is if we get to beta 6 and this is still how it is, then this is what it is.
I don't think it's going to... I think they'll make some tweaks, continue to make tweaks like they have been to what we've got, but I don't think they're going to revert it. That's just where I will put my money on this right now. I think that's what they're going to... go with.
I can't wait for like the public to discover this design. It's going to be great. It's not going to be great. There's some new weather stuff, too, new weather icon, and something that I've noticed basically immediately is that a lot of apps now have those splash screens, a lot of Apple apps where they tell you this is what this app does in terms of privacy, or this is new features in this app. The biggest one I think is reminders that has like, you have to like scroll, not that you can tell because there's not a scroll bar, but directions on how smart lists work.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of text on that one, like really going into detail. It's like a manual, but I'm not complaining. Like, I like the way that this page is designed. We'll put a link in the show notes to a tweet that has it from at Talk About Design, and I think it's good. Like, if it's a complicated feature, people might want to know about it, and this seems to go into detail about how it works. So, go for it, I guess.
They've also tweaked the shortcuts, always allow, that business. It seems to be a little bit better for me, but I haven't spent a ton of time on my phone since yesterday. So
it seems like, so this is Alan Miller on Twitter was posting about this, that one, they were showing a bunch of like sample data in the privacy alert, but then also allow once, always allow, don't allow. I think that's what we had before. I was just wondering, like, if they're tweaking that kind of stuff, maybe they will have fixed what was very clearly a bug that you two were talking about last week, you know, in that it seems to just randomly continue to give you the alert. This is actually not a bug I have.
Oh man!
With the shortcuts that I use on my iPad, I never get like re-asked to do the always allowing thing, and I am doing some stuff like I'm like uploading one to Dropbox or whatever. So like I have like a receipt thing, so I would see that like. You know, because it is one of the things where I have to do the allow, but no, it doesn't happen.
I'd rather have to hit always allow more than one time than have my computer being out of application memory, which isn't even really a thing.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the great thing about the iPad compared to the Mac.
Didn't you switch back to the Mac?
Yeah, well, now maybe I'll go back again. I was getting very frustrated when that thing was happening to me because it's kind of like, iOS deals with this. Just deal with it. Why are you telling me to force quit things? Just deal with it. That's how I was getting frustrated about it today. It was annoying me. It's like, I don't feel like the computer should be asking me to force quit applications. Like, the computer can just handle it. Suspend an app. Like, you know what I'm doing. Just suspend the application. Like, it's fine. No, make me force quit it instead. And there are new icons in shortcuts, like for you to add to a shortcut. It seems like there's a selection of new ones. I still just want to be able to have like either all of SF symbols or just emoji, you know? Same thing I've wanted forever.
Yeah, and you can do that in reminders. You can have a list and just put an emoji in front of it. But oh no, if it's in shortcuts, you can't do it. That's the sort of thing that should be standardized across Apple apps. Mark Gurman's back.
I feel like you always say that, like he goes away.
He does. He goes out into the wilderness and he gathers up Apple rumors in his little basket, and then he comes back and dumps them out on the table. And he's come back with a bunch of stuff about the iPhone 13, which is pretty interesting. Do we want to start with the camera rumors?
Yeah, tell me all about it.
So Gurman reports that a video version of portrait mode will be coming. My guess is probably just to the Pro phones. I think he sort of talks about that a little bit later on, that, hey, a lot of this camera stuff may just be for the Pro phones. But basically, it would be portrait mode for video. Internally, it's dubbed cinematic video, which I could totally see Apple just calling it that. Because everything has to have a proper name if you're a feature written by an Apple engineer. This will be paired with the ability to record video in a higher quality format called ProRes. This is Apple's lossy video compression format. It supports up to 8K. It's been around a long time. A lot of cameras shoot natively in ProRes. In Final Cut, you can render into ProRes and then use the Afterburner card if you have a Mac Pro. And it is sort of thought that this would be the higher-end video codec option as like a sibling to ProRAW for photos that they introduced last year.
Does anybody use the ProRAW? I mean, I'm sure some people do.
I don't.
But like, I never feel like I ever hear anything about that.
Yeah, I don't. Is that bad?
No, why would it be? Like, I feel like, do you consider yourself a professional photographer?
I mean, not really.
Although you did make a calendar. You know, I'm making a calendar.
I did make a calendar. I'm pro as heck. That's what we're saying.
I just feel like I tried like playing around with halide. I think I just like raw is more than I need. Like I don't really know what I'm doing with it, and to be honest, it feels like it would add a layer of complexity that I'm not really looking for.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna shoot a picture that I want those options for, that I would like to think that I may already have my big camera with me. It's just not something I think like, oh, I should have, I should shoot RAW. And
do you shoot in RAW?
I do on my Sony, yeah.
Why?
So I can do lots of additional editing.
Because I guess for you, in the times that you would even consider using RAW on the phone, you would already have your actual camera.
I think so.
It feels like to do the RAW thing, you are like making the decision in advance, like I'm going to shoot in RAW now, like that's what I'm going to do. So I'm sure some people leave it on all the time, but I would expect most people wouldn't because the file sizes are much larger. Yeah, I just feel like the Pro RAW thing is something that I maybe was expecting to hear more about. I don't know why. Maybe I kind of conflated it wrong in my brain, where it's like every year when Apple has their like, we're bringing out Phil Schiller now, Greg, to Jaws React to talk about the new thing in the camera, right? That it becomes a big thing, like portrait mode and what is the one with where it does the sweater thing? You know what I'm talking about?
Deep fusion.
Yeah, and it's like that becomes just like a big part of the camera. So like maybe I kind of gotten used to like, oh, this segment means like this is the thing that's going to be important to everyone. But I guess Pro RAW is very like, no, it's not for you, right? Like it's really like for people that take for like images professionally on an iPhone. I guess it's more for that.
I mean, it's a fringy thing, I think. So in addition to all that video stuff, there's also going to be a new filter-like system that improves the look of colors and photos. And so Gurman goes on into more detail saying that instead of just laying one filter across the entire picture, that Apple's going to use the recognition it already has in the camera to recognize faces and objects and pets and precisely apply changes to just the part of the photos that you would want. And so instead of having to maybe brighten the whole photo, if someone's in a little bit of shadow, you could just bring up the skin tones or just bring up the shadow on their face and not necessarily the surrounding background is sort of how I read this.
I mean, I would really like this for photos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like I would really like this. Like, when I edit pictures, like sometimes I want to make adjustments to the color, but without changing the skin tones. And so like, like I want to change like the color of the sky or the color of like, the background behind or even the color of the clothing. But I don't want to make like my wife's face like beetroot red, So then I have to like pull back on what I'm looking for. But so that would be super interesting if they could do that. One thing I was thinking about too is like if they could create some stuff that could be used. Like you've probably seen, I know that neither me or you do the TikTok, but I'm sure you've seen like TikTok videos that are made where like you basically have a green screen effect kind of behind you and people put like things behind them. I was thinking Apple could try and do something like that if they wanted to, maybe. Could be interesting. Like bake that into the iPhone and make that like a part of it. Like you could say like, well, just this is the person, everything that's behind the person replace with this.
Sounds like a Clips feature, honestly. Like put it in there.
I mean, for all I know, Stephen, Clips already does this, but I don't
have it installed. Yeah, and I think he's not clear on this, but my assumption would be this filtering would be in the Photos app, not the Camera app. But for a while they had filters in the Camera app. Do you remember that? And then they ditched them. But for a while you could in like iOS.
No, did they ditch
8.
them?
Yeah, they're gone, I think.
No, they're there.
Are they Camera?
Yeah, you got to do that swipe up thing where you get the additional settings. And there's a little 3 rings
what in the world?
Overlaying each other. And then you can go in and you can get filters. Honestly, I would expect if they're going to do this, they would do it live.
Do it live.
Because that's Apple's whole thing, right? Like, you go swipe up, so you get like the additional settings, and then you can go to vivid one. Like, so like I would imagine, like, so for me, the idea of having a filter that is applied afterwards, that feels like a Samsung thing, right? It's just like, we'll just do this. It's going to work. It's going to be great. Apple's whole bag is like, look how good our technology and chips are and stuff. Like, they go the extra mile sometimes unnecessarily.
But then if you take it in the camera, then it's in the image, and in photos you can undo things. Maybe it's both places. I mean, those same vivid, cool, whatever are also in the photos editing screen. So maybe it just lives where those things live.
If that was the case, though, I feel like that they should change that. Like the idea of like if you take it with the filter on, then it's going to be like, I feel like they should save the image and then the metadata, right? That applies.
Well, let's see.
You're going to try it now.
I'm going to
see if
take
you
a
can
dramatic warm photo. So it looks like it's Instagram in 2012.
They are so, like, all of Apple's filters, like, I hope that the plan is to redo all of these, because it is very, like, hipstermatic, you know? Like, they're not very good. Because plus, anyway, like, color filters, they're just not a thing that people do anymore. So I would be intrigued what this would look like.
I went to go edit it, and it had the dramatic warm filter applied to it in the photos edit screen. So I can just change it back to original, and it's there.
So, yeah, that's very good then, and they don't bake that in. Mark Gurman also just confirmed a bunch of stuff from previous reports, that they're going to have the 5.4 and 6.1 inch phones and the 6.7 inch phones. So mini, 2 regular sizes and a max, smaller notch, new screen technology, faster refresh rate, and faster A15 system on a chip. So all the kind of stuff that we're going through. I mentioned this to Jason the other day. Let's see if it makes you feel the same as it made him feel. So I got a little chip in the rail of my phone, just like a very tiny one. It's just enough that I feel it every now and then. But hey, I think I've done pretty well, to be honest. I've had no case on this phone the entire time. So
honestly, I've never damaged a phone, so I can't relate to this.
Yeah, you couldn't sympathize at all. You couldn't sympathize at all with a very lightly damaged phone that doesn't at all impact the usage of it.
If I break a phone, I go all the way, baby.
And when I did it, I kind of was like, oh, that's fine. I'll probably have a new one in like 6 weeks. That's very soon, isn't it?
Yeah. How is that possible?
Isn't it?
I don't like it.
Isn't that wild? It's not far at all.
No. There's a lot of things coming up at us on our calendar very quickly. I mean, the end of the year is like here, man.
They are. Yeah. It hit me harder in also understanding what's happening in about that length of time from now.
Hear about next time.
Yep. Of course, they could delay the phones or whatever. But I mean, but my personal thought is it's going to be a September announcement. Who knows? And they, like from the earnings report, they were saying they'll be constrained. I imagine that it's going to be hard to get them for a bit, I guess.
I just have no gauge of like, will they come out in September? Will they come out in October? Like maybe they've been all over the place the last few years. I mean, even going back to like the 8 and 10. Remember the 8 came out and the 10 was later, and they will be out this fall. That's all I'm willing to say.
I think it's going to be September because they didn't give.
Think they're just going to nail it?
Well, no, they didn't give an indication on the last earnings call that they wouldn't start having sales in September.
Oh, yeah.
It would be in their best interest to say that, I think, if they thought that wasn't going to happen. They just said they're going to be supply constrained. They didn't say it's coming later. So some will be on sale in September, would be my guess. I don't know when in September. And then the rest will mostly be on sale through October.
I'm excited. In his tweet, he was like, "This is a minor update." It's like, this all sounds pretty good to me.
I think people are, I feel like, undervaluing the screen.
The high refresh rate.
High refresh rate, potentially always on display. I think that's going to be a pretty big feature. But at the moment, because we can't see it or experience it, and nobody knows what an iPhone would be like with a 120 hertz refresh rate display, it's kind of just feels like it's not going to be a lot, but I think it's going to be pretty mega. I'm super excited about it.
I'll be too, as long as you can turn it off.
Yeah, it's going to suck for
I'll just have to use it. Oh no, all the Android phones already have it. Oh no. This episode of Connected is made possible by Indeed. If you're trying to build a brilliant AI, you need a Turing test. But what if you're trying to hire a brilliant thinker, a human thinker? Well, you need Indeed assessments. When hiring gets hard, you need Indeed, the job site that makes hiring incredibly simple. Just attract, interview, and hire. In fact, with Indeed, you can do all of your hiring in one place, even that interviewing step. Don't just hope the perfect candidate will find you. Indeed's hiring tools help you cut through the noise to hire faster and smarter. In fact, Indeed Instant Match provides a list of quality candidates whose resumes are on Indeed the moment you post a sponsored job. With Indeed assessments, choose from 135 different skills tests to help make sure you're finding applications from people with the skills you actually need, so you can match up people and skills. And according to Talent Nest, Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent. Get started right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job posting. Just go to Indeed.com/connected. That's Indeed.com/connected for that $75 credit. The offer is valid through September 30th. Terms and conditions apply. That URL one more time, Indeed.com/connected. Our thanks to Indeed for their support of the show and Relay FM.
Roast my dog, Steven. Roast
I'm going to roast
baby.
it. I'm going to do yours or mine first.
Let's do yours first. It's just in the document first. So people may remember we did Roast My Menu Bar a while ago. The three of us enjoyed that segment so much that we thought we would actually just make it like a thing that we'll do every now and again. And Doc was an obvious one. And because Steven's here, oh my, how old am I? I'm getting the two of you mixed up now. Because Federico's away this week, we figured we may as well just do a Mac one now because, you know, they've got to give him a break.
It's just the stock doc with like the books app in it still. Oh, thank goodness I can get to iMovie so quickly. All right, let's talk about doc settings first, and then we talk about what's in the doc. How about that?
Yeah, you took it and turned it by adding this one in there.
This is the worst. So no, this is the second worst system preference pane after keyboard. They're both terrible. But my dock is on the right-hand side. It is pretty big. It basically takes the whole screen top to bottom, and it moves.
I was really surprised about the size indicator of yours, because that makes it seem like it would be the biggest thing ever.
No, it's not huge.
The icon's not large?
The dock isn't even as wide as the clock. Right now, my clock says 12:55 p.m. The dock isn't even as wide as that.
I guess for you, it's. I mean, maybe like what Apple considers small and large is different to magnification.
Yes.
Right? Magnification is size of icons. Small and large is like height or length of the dock, which is weird.
And it's variable dependent on the number of things you have in the dock, and I tend to have a lot of things in my dock. So
yeah, and you have a massive display. So
magnification is turned off because I'm not an animal. I noticed on yours, we'll get to this, but your magnification is set to max, but then you unchecked it. I was like, at one point, he had it all the way up. Position on the screen, like I said, is right. I use the genie effect to minimize windows. Double-clicking a Windows title bar, minimize. I think all that stuff is stock. I animate opening applications. The dock is always visible.
You show recent applications in the dock. That is interesting to me.
Because there's some things like transmit or forecast or something I may need pretty often, but not often enough to want them in the dock. So most of the time they're just hanging out down there. It's also great if you accidentally quit an application, you can very quickly get back to it.
But I do feel like I mostly launch my applications from Alfred.
So here's the thing.
Anyway.
So do I. In a way, the dock for me is legacy. It's a way to see what's running, and I can drag things from Finder into different applications, but I very rarely launch things from it, I feel like. I really tried to pay attention to that this past week because I knew this was coming. And
yeah, I feel like I'm pretty mixed. I know I do it, but it's nowhere near as often.
Yeah. And I keep my dock fully visible. I think I said that, but I don't have it hide and then reappear. That doesn't make any sense to me. Top to bottom, I guess, because I have it on the side where it belongs. Here's the thing about that. I'm just going to wander straight into the hottest fire in the pit of macOS fandom hell. The dock doesn't belong in the bottom because you have less real estate top to bottom on your screen. Put it on the side so you can have more vertical real estate. Why would you have it on the bottom? Why would you do that? Don't do that.
Lots of people do.
Yeah, and it's wrong.
But I don't know why they do.
Lots of people smoke. They shouldn't smoke. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm comparing this to. Okay, top to bottom.
That's an odd, like a really odd comparison.
I was going to say a lot of people think you shouldn't get the vaccine, but I didn't want to go into that, so I said smoking instead.
Well, those people are straight wrong. So
Finder, obviously, it's always the first one. And then messages, mail. And then the first third-party app is Todoist.
Okay, so I already have a question for you, right? Why do you put messages and mail together?
I tend to try to group my things kind of loosely. So like mail and messages is kind of communication.
This is the path I was trying to walk you down
but it's different than Slack and Discord, and that's a different type of communication. Look.
In what way?
I'm not saying
in what way are they different?
This is just where things have landed over the years, and where now I just am used to things being right. If I arranged it in a way that would make sense based on category, I would never find anything in my doc.
Yeah.
Next, I have Safari and Slack, Discord and Twitter. Discord and Twitter, by the way, no, we're not talking about this today. They live in their own space. Just them. It's kind of like my social space. And then I have Calendar, Craft, which is my note-taking application. Everything's in Craft now. I've just given up on Apple Notes, except one shared folder with my spouse. Reader for RSS reading.
Wait, let's stop. Let's stop on that. So you have everything in Craft. What does that mean? Like, what is everything? Tell me the types of stuff.
Let me just read you my folder
Craft.
names. How about that?
Then tell me all the names of all of your notes.
512 pixels. Book highlights is where I export highlights out of Kindle and save them. Checklists. Events and travel. That one, the only thing in there is my TSA pre-check number. The rest of that folder is empty.
Nice.
Freelance. Home, which is like house and car stuff. HTM, so Hackett Technical Media, my company apart from Relay. Manuals. So if I need to look up, how do I do this on my Mix Pre 6? I have a PDF just right there. OBS, which is my brother's nonprofit. I'm on the board, so I have some things there. Podcastathon things go in there. Podcasts, so links that I'm saving for future ones. I have a list of all the dating questions I've ever asked Federico.
So tell me like the notes that are in there. Like what's in the podcast? Like, do you have, like, for example, I have a note for Connected where I save links and
so I have
stuff
one
like
called
that.
Connected Links,
like
Liftoff Links, MPU Feedback.
And how do you save stuff to those?
Through the extension. If it's a URL or a tweet or something, and if it's just text and an email, I'll just copy and paste it into its own block.
Okay.
And there's also some like random things, like sometimes Audition just resets all of its settings, and I can't remember how I set my loudness settings, and so I have a screenshot of that now. It's sort of like podcasty things. Relay FM, which is just things that I keep not in Google Docs that we don't necessarily need together, but some things that I just need access to. And then I have one for yearly themes, which has my notes for 19, 20, and 21 related to that.
Idea.
So it's work and personal kind of mixed in together in those broad folders.
And you are like, I think you take notes like me, right? Like you have a note which is like a topic, and then a bunch of stuff goes in each individual note.
Yes.
One of these like weird Obsidian people, where it's like every possible thought gets its own note. And then it all interconnects with a mesh network.
No, I don't need that in any way.
I fail to still understand how any people think that way. But, we're all different. It's the Zettelkasten method.
Yeah. I also have, not in Craft, I need to put it in here. I have scanned PDFs because I carry a paper notebook, a field notes notebook with me everywhere. And then I scan those when I fill them up. And I have all those as PDFs. And I want to put them in Craft. I just haven't yet.
I feel like Notes would be better for those, though, because it can do the scanning and the OCR, right?
Oh, yeah. I need to see if it works with my handwriting. I should look at that. Because right now they're just in a PDF on Dropbox.
I mean, I've been pretty surprised with live text. Like, it does a pretty good job, so I wouldn't be surprised.
So I mentioned Reader. I got Good Links, which is kind of like Instapaper, but it's a native app, like instead of just a website. John Voorhees turned me onto that. I really like it. Devon Think, which is where I keep all of my Apple history and really tech history library. There's like almost 25,000 items in there, individual items. That is a fun place to go. After that, I've got Day One. I got several journals in Day One.
Is that where
Do you need
keep
the names
your
of
weird
those two?
dreams?
I keep a dream journal.
Can you give a dramatic reading of today's dream, please?
Yes.
For the connected audience.
Yeah, let me open Day One. Let's see. Dreams. Title is Head and Shoulders. I wrote this at 6:35 a.m. I had a dream that I was watching / making / in a movie. I seem throughout the...
Wait. Watching / making?
I think within the dream, my role in the movie changed.
Oh, wow, that is quite like a view of yourself. Like you go from having watched something to now I make it. You know,
Yeah.
like,
I saw a calendar and I said, I can make a calendar.
you're like that you know, the meme of like I made this, take it. Mm-hmm. I made this. You know,
I made this. Mm-hmm. The movie was about a high school football team. It was graded in sepia tones, kind of like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Remember that? Had like very particular coloring in that film. That's what this movie looked like.
Sure.
The movie was sponsored by Head and Shoulders shampoo. And the product integration was the coach would hand out little sample packets of the shampoo as encouragement to the players. And they would have notes on them. For example, your head and shoulders above their defensive line.
I want to know more about the way that this happens in your life. I mean, one, I have already read this today, so like my initial reaction would have been greater if that was the first time that had come to me, right?
What if I read you one that you haven't heard before?
Yes.
Okay, let me see. I got to find one that's like relevant, like where you know.
No, maybe it's better if I don't.
No, I have one about WWDC.
Okay, hold on a minute. When do you like write these down?
First thing in the morning.
So like you wake up and just immediately write down. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and do it, or do you just like you wake up?
I've tried that, but they make even less sense.
See, I just don't remember. I don't dream a lot, and I would never know. Do you do one every day?
No, it's like a handful of months.
That's still wild
that
to
I
me,
remember. I got one about high school, but I got one about WWDC. I'm just skimming real quick.
Have I heard this one before, though?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So this was May 14th, so, like a month before WWDC. Everyone was back at WWDC. Myke and I did not have press access, but several of our friends were able to talk Eddie Q into it.
You have told me this one. But keep going.
That conversation took place near the theater across the street from the middle school I attended. We then went inside and ran into Craig Federico. He was tense and seemed a little on edge. I asked him if he still got nervous before keynotes, and he said that he did. We then talked a little bit about sports, and he brought out a soccer ball from behind the check-in desk. He kicked it past me, and some other people started playing with it. So Myke, Federico, John, Marco, and I started to go into the venue. I turned around just in time to see someone drill the ball right into Craig's face with a powerful kick. As he fell to the ground, someone else returned the kick for him with one that sailed into a large glass panel, smashing it into pieces. At this point, we decided to find seats in the back of the theater and pretend we had no idea what was going on in the lobby. That didn't last long, as a bloodied Craig and angry Eddie found us pretty quickly. They took our credentials and told us...
We had nothing to do with this.
And told us they'd make an example out of Relay FM on stage in front of the world.
They just delete us from Apple Podcasts. I remember I had a pre-WWDC dream where I had to do a dramatic reading from a book on stage. I didn't want to do it, and Tim Cook was mad at me. That's as much. Mine are nowhere near as good or detailed as yours, but I just remember having had that dream. We were having some real anxiety dreams about WWDC this year, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even finish it.
Oh, is it not done? There's more?
No, there's one more paragraph.
Oh, my apologies.
As we left, my friends were all mad at me, thinking the soccer ball thing had been my fault. I insisted that Craig had produced the ball, but no one believed me. We were taunted on the street as we walked out of the venue.
Oh, wow.
I flew home the next day in shame.
Didn't even stay around for the live show that year.
No.
Guess we've been made an example of at this point.
I guess so. So day one. And then Notion. Notion is here as a reminder, as like a task, because I have been slowly cataloging my collection in Notion, and I just haven't finished it.
Why do you want to do that in Notion?
So people can like peruse it on the web.
But Craft does that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? I don't think Craft did it when I started it in Notion. I should just do it in Craft.
Yeah.
I'm taking Notion out of the dock.
Well, don't do it until you've taken it out of Notion.
Well, I didn't get very far.
Okay.
And then photos and music.
Mm-hmm.
1Password. Find My.
Find My. In the dock.
Well, sometimes I want to know where like family members are. You know, or what you're doing. Where are you right now? You're in your office. Can I read the things right around your office?
Absolutely not, no. 100,000% no. Shall I read the things around your home?
No, please don't do that.
No, how about that?
I do have some questions about some of these places that we can talk about offline, though.
Yeah, you can talk to me about those in your own time.
Yeah.
Not on our shared time, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I use Find My too, but I don't think I'd ever consider putting it in the dock.
So here's the thing. 1Password used to be the bottom of the dock, and everything after that has been added in recent years. And so Find My showed up in there, I guess, at one point when it showed up on the Mac. Mm-hmm. And then Parcel, the delivery tracking app, which I really like. And then the 3 podcast apps, Audio Hijack, Zoom, and Forecast.
Where is your editing app?
Well, I always open Logic from Finder, so I have a bunch of templates. I copy the template into a new folder, rename it, and then open the template, and that opens Logic for me, so I don't need it in the dock. Do you just open Logic like just from this icon?
Yeah, sometimes.
No.
I mean, I do what you do, but I also open it sometimes.
Yeah, I do it rarely enough that Alfred would be good enough. Like I said, there's not a lot of logic in this, unfortunately.
Heyo. Was that a pun? So I think maybe one of the things that we do differently is I quite frequently have edits that I come back to like the next day or whatever, you know? So then if you just open Logic, it immediately opens to your last project. So sometimes that's just the easiest way for me to get back to what I was doing.
Now, in the recents, in my screenshot, it's Logic, Transmit, the FTP app, and then Mars Edit, an app that I use to send blog posts to 512 pixels.
I'm surprised Mars Edit isn't in the dock as well, actually.
It used to be. I don't know what happened. I don't know why.
It's really weird to me that, like, professionally you consider yourself, because you are, I don't mean consider yourself, professionally you think of yourself as a podcaster and a blogger. But the 2 tools that you use to produce that work, you do not keep in the dock. And I find
I put Mars Edit.
Fascinating.
I'm putting Mars Edit.
I think you should put Logic in it too.
I'm going to put Mars Edit between Good Links and Devon Think. And I'm going to put Logic.
Logic should be above Forecast.
Logic's the first podcasting app. Yeah.
Oh, wait. So.
And I'm going to move Parcel, Find My, and 1Password down towards the bottom. So 1Password is the bottom again.
So if you're looking at Steven's image, ignore that. It's all it's all changed.
Yeah, well, it's Roast My Doc. We're here to improve ourselves.
That's true.
I do use 2 stacks. I use Dropbox, and I have my downloads folder, both in the grid, so I don't have like the weird fly-out bendy arm thing.
That was fun when it was announced.
Yeah, and then it was super annoying. And I have a folder in each of them named asterisk. So it sorts at the top. And in Dropbox, it's a folder with a little Dropbox icon on it. And on downloads...
Yeah, Steven does this. Like, so I share a lot of folders with Steven, and sometimes he just puts an asterisk next to a particular folder that he wants to sit at the top because alphabetical order be damned.
And I have the same thing in downloads. And so what that does is it means the stack, it's like a little Dropbox folder and all the folders file in behind it. And in downloads, it's the download folder image with all of his little things poking out behind it. I like the look. And it means the stacks don't change. If I download something new, the icon doesn't change out of the corner of my eye.
Okay.
So that's my dock. And then, of course, I have the trash can because that's there.
All right. I feel like we made some definite improvements.
I think so. It's hectic. And I know a lot of people say you should hide it. and I don't really use it as a launcher, but it's just kind of part of the Mac now for me, just over there on the side. I do use it to glance at notifications. So like I have 6 things to do left today, you know?
Yeah.
So
okay.
I do use those
too.
icons some.
I do that too. Yeah. I probably allow for about as many of those as I do on my iPhone, you know?
Yeah, not many.
Not many. Mostly messaging applications.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Mack Weldon. You're busy, so why stop to think about what you're going to wear? You should just embrace the radically efficient Mack Weldon Daily Wear System. The Daily Wear System is a selection of clothes rooted in smart design that are made with performance fabrics and built to work together. From breathable t-shirts and polos to stylish buttons and shorts, underwear, and beyond, Mack Weldon has made it easy for you to dress for work, leisure, and play, or wherever the summer takes you. I've got a bunch of stuff from Mack Weldon. I really like all of it. They make really high quality stuff. And I know that if I reach for something that's got that Mack Weldon label in it, that it's going to look great, it's going to fit great, and it's going to hold up over time. For the ultimate lazy Sunday, their Ace sweatshorts have modern tailoring, and they pair perfectly with the ultra soft, ultra upgraded Pima tees. And for weekend travels, their Silvernet Polo and Radius shorts are the perfect high-tech, highly packable combo. Buy some time this summer with the Mack Weldon Daily Wear System. For 20% off your first order, visit mackweldon.com/connected and enter the promo code CONNECTED. That's mackweldon.com/connected, promo code CONNECTED for 20% off. Mack Weldon, radically efficient wardrobing. Our thanks to Mack Weldon for their support of the show and Relay FM.
So I have been historically bad at keeping my docks in sync between my desktop and laptop.
Same. It's so hard.
Yeah, and I know it's a terrible request, right? But I would love if there was a way to just keep this stuff in sync across devices. But I understand why also, it's not a priority to add this feature, but I would love it. So today I actually sat down and mirrored the 2 docks. So like added and removed some stuff on each device and then just put them in the right order, because it is a thing that annoys me where like I feel like I go to the dock and I don't know where anything is. So now I don't know where anything is on either of them, but eventually I'll learn this new layout because they both changed. But hey, here we are.
I need to do that because now I've made all these changes.
Would you like to look at my settings?
I would. Let me open this here.
I don't feel like mine are that wild.
Use dark mode on the Mac, which I cannot abide.
I do use dark mode on the Mac. That's true.
Magnification was set to max, but then you unchecked it. You used to be a magnifier, didn't you?
No, I don't think so. Not. I mean, there's no way I would have been a magnifier on any of these devices that would be carrying these settings forward. Does that make sense?
Okay. Sure.
So I don't know why that's on max, but magnification's off. You know what? I might have
you
just
should
at
just
some
check
point,
that box and give us your
to
reaction.
See what happens.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe at some point I might have just wanted to see what it was like and then just left it at that. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I feel like I know what's happened here. One day I was like, what would this look like? And then hated it.
Yeah, I just made the size as small as it can be and turned magnification all the way up, and it's a roller coaster.
I can imagine that yours, again, with your Pro Display XDR, is probably wild. I bet you can
you
see
don't
the
have to
pores
say
of
the
your
name
icons.
of the display. It's just a big display.
Pro Display XDR with stand.
Come on.
At least you don't have the nano texture, do you?
No.
No, so, you get 1 point, I suppose.
I guess so. You keep your dock visible all the time.
Yep.
I think we basically have the same settings. Oh, you double-click what have you done? Double-click a Windows title bar to zoom.
I don't ever do this. I don't even know what that does. What is this?
Double-click the title bar. That barely exists anymore on
It doesn't do
Windows.
anything. I'm double-clicking it and nothing's happening.
Oh, you just set that to minimize. I miss Window Shade. You didn't really ever use Mac OS 8 or 9 or whatever, but Window Shade was awesome. Oh, look at your dock.
All right, hold on. We're not done yet. I don't do the recent applications thing.
Should I? I'm gonna try to live without that.
It's not really my thing. What was the last part that I was going to mention? Oh, I'm a right dock person now. I've always been a left dock person. But then when I put my monitor on the left, and my second monitor, then it put the dock all the way on the left, and I didn't want that. So I changed to become a right dock person.
That's a real limitation in how the dock works. If it's at the bottom...
I don't know why I can't say where I want it to be.
Yeah, if it's on the bottom, it'll show up on the bottom of any one. You can do it where it's like in the center, but what you have to do is like tell, okay, the display on the left is actually way higher. And so like the dock has like a hard thing to hit against. It's really bad. Like they should make it much
and like
more.
They have a thing where you can say like this is the primary display.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but that doesn't actually change anything, I don't think. Like, I don't know what that does, but it doesn't do
it used to say that's where the menu bar was, but that shows up everywhere now. Yeah, it's the dock you should be able to pin to the left or right of any display attached.
And I would just like to say, because when I mentioned this last time, I got some feedback. I don't want to do any of the hacks. I live with it now. Like, people will tell me, like, oh, if you do this and this and this and this and go into the terminal and do it, I don't want to do any of that for this. So I just live with the dock on the right now. I'm used to it. It's fine. All right. So you want my list, right?
Yes. Hit me with your best shot.
Finder.
Oh.
What? You don't have Finder in the dock?
No, I do. It was more like Finder.
I feel like Finder, and then I have App Store.
Why?
All right. So I knew you were gonna. I knew you were gonna do this.
You're not John Voorhees, who has like the App Store on like his dock of his phone. Like, what are you doing?
As soon as I took the screenshot today, I was like, oh, God damn it! I know it. This is one of the standard settings, and I think I kind of just left it. Like, it was just there, and I was like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Sometimes I need the App Store, and I just leave it there. I appreciate that it is a weird decision, and I actually reserved the right...
some new programs today.
I reserved the right to get rid of it, but I didn't want to get rid of it just because I knew you would make fun of me for it. But it is like, it's a weird one, I think, to have there. I do like to know when I have updates for apps, because I don't like to do things automatically. I don't like automatic app updates. I hate the thought of opening an app and it's changed and I didn't know. Like, even on iOS, like, I don't have automatic app updates, and I always most of the time I skim the update list because I kind of just want to know. There are some apps that I like to kind of keep track of, like Craft, for example. Like, I always want to know what they're up to, and I want to know when there's an update, and I want to read the release notes before I do the update.
I have automatic app updates turned on my phone, but they never work, so I still have to do them manually all the time.
Yeah, I have it turned on my iPad, like not on my phone, and it just doesn't work. It's just sometimes I open my app and there's 71 app updates. It's like, all right, so you didn't do anything, did you? So
that information is also present under the Apple menu. If you go to App Store, it'll say 3 updates in a little
but I don't
bubble.
Spend a lot of time.
I know.
In the Apple menu.
Because System Preferences is also in your dock.
Right now, I have in the Apple menu 6 app updates, and the App Store icon has nothing on it. So
what does the App Store say if you go to the Update tab?
6. But it's not badging. Did I turn that off?
Maybe you had the badge off, which is the whole reason you said you had it in the dock in the first place.
On my MacBook Pro, I know the badge is on. I don't know why I've done that. Who knows? System preferences.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is one that I know I click quite a lot rather than...
I can't really judge because I used to have settings on my home screen on my phone, and it's still on the second home screen, I think.
Yeah, I have it on the I don't have a second home screen anymore, so I do. It used to be there. Safari.
Yes.
Music.
Good.
Messages.
Yeah, text me back. 7 unread messages there.
Yeah, at that point, I think I did have an unread message from you. Slack, Discord, because they go together.
Yes.
Notes, Craft.
So what goes where? Why do you have Notes and Craft? I mean, I have Notes because I have one shared folder with Mary.
Yeah. At the moment, all of my notes go in Notes, and I use Craft for everything to do with Cortex brand.
Okay.
So all notes and all like projects and everything goes in there. And I think at some point I would move everything to Craft, because what I like about Craft is I can have multiple like accounts, but I just haven't done that. Because I
It's very manual. You're just like copying and pasting stuff over to Craft.
yeah, and also like I still do, I think, prefer how the share extension for Notes works than the share extension for Craft. Yeah, maybe one day. I love Craft for what I use it for, but I use it for something that's it's like a little bit more complex than what I use Notes for.
Sure.
I do think I need to clear out some of my old notes. I never delete them ever, so I just have a big history of stuff going on.
When I migrated into Crafts, I probably ended up with like probably 50 fewer notes. Like there was like all sorts of stuff in there. Like I don't need this from this live event note from 3 years ago, right? Like I just don't need it anymore.
Yeah, like I don't remember what it was that why I saw this today. I think I was just like, because I noticed this and started scrolling through, and like I had a note for it, like planned for Cortex in 2017. It's like I don't need that anymore. that time has come and gone, right? Like it was just like it was just like coming up with things that we've ended up doing, but it was like I don't know why I still have that. I don't think I need that anymore. So, and then after Craft is Reader.
What RSS service are you using?
What is the one that you use?
Feedbin?
I use that one. I was using Reader for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember why, but I was like, I don't need this.
Sure.
And then I just changed to Feedbin. I think like I was using Reader, and then I stopped using RSS for a while. And then when I decided to come back, I like opened it up. It's like, there's so much stuff in here. I'm just going to start off with a brand new service. And then just went in. I think it was one of those things where like I just opened our text group chat and was like, what is everyone using? And everyone told me Feedbin. And I was like, great, I'm going to get Feedbin. And then I just got Feedbin.
I maybe like a month ago went through and I adjusted. I don't know what the word is. I changed all my newsletters to go into Feedbin instead of my actual email account.
Interesting.
You get like a secret email address with Feedbin, and so you go tell Ben Thompson, "Hey, send me all my emails here." And then I made just a newsletters folder.
Do you tell him personally? Hey, Ben.
I texted him. I said, can you just change this in my account, please? And he said, who is this? And I said, it's Steven. He said, Steven who?
It's Steven. And he's like, which Steven? And then, 20 minutes later, he just told me to go log into the admin panel.
And so you even get notices there. I think you have to look out for, you get your notices there about like if your credit card expired or something. But
interesting. I've been thinking about doing this.
I have a newsletters folder. I just check that, like I check regular RSS, and I've really come to like that, because the problem with newsletters in my inbox is I want to get to them, and then they're like, oh, they're old. But like if I'm reading RSS, I'm already kind of in that mode, and I've really come to enjoy it over the last however long it's been.
So tell me how this works then. Like how does this happen? Do they give me like the Feedbin give me an email address?
Yes, they give you an email address, and then you go around to all of your newsletters and you change your email address with them from, Myke at whatever to secret Feedbin email address.
Okay.
And then they just show up in Feedbin.
Well, answer this then, smart guy.
Okay.
I don't know why I decided to address this in such attitude, but this is the space I've decided to occupy.
So spicy.
Tell me this, brain box. Like, what do you do if you like? What do you do if you like? If like something happens and you lose a password, how would you reset the password?
It would show up as an unread article in Feedbin with all the links and stuff in it.
Interesting.
It just turns the body of the message into an article.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, smart guy, you told me, didn't you?
Yeah, Feedbin. I told you. What'd you call me? Brainbox?
I think so. That was one. I think smart guy and brainbox. You never heard that one before? Brainbox?
No.
You can work out what it means, though, right? It's like smarty pants or something.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Brainbox.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I might do that. I don't subscribe to a lot of newsletters that I read in email. So, like, Six Colors, I really love when Jason put the RSS thing in. So, like, I read way more of the Six Colors members' articles now that they show up in my RSS feed.
So you read what I write for Jason now?
Yeah, I read. Well, I'm not very good at reading email newsletters, and I have Club Mac Stories, I have Platformer, which is Casey Newton's thing, and I have Hot Pod.
Yeah, mine are very similar to that.
They're the ones that I mostly read. And then one of the things that I love about Ben Thompson is he records podcasts, and that's how I reached Techery. It's just vastly superior. I wish Casey Newton would do it, honestly. Like, I really do. I love his writing. Like, and he writes about stuff which I otherwise don't really get a lot of content about, like just like the platform changes and stuff. And it's a great newsletter, and it's one that I actually do read all the time, but I wish there was a podcast version because I just like that. But hey ho. I might send them to a reader. I think I'd have a better hit rate of reading the articles, because I know that's changed for me. Oh, and Brad's Refill. Brad Dowdy has a very good pen-related newsletter called Refill, which I do always read too. But I think I would prefer them if they were in Reader. I'm not filling up my email inbox. That's a good idea. Where was I? Todoist? I'm not talking about it today, but yes, I'm using Todoist. I'm not talking about it. I won't answer questions about it. At this time, please direct all questions to my publicist. I'm not using OmniFocus. I haven't been using OmniFocus for like best part of 6 months. I'm using Todoist. I'll talk about it another time.
Okay.
Then Spark, Mimestream.
Yes.
I really love it. It's an absolutely superb email application. I wished that they would make it so I could have all of my email in it, and then I would maybe use that more. But I'd love it. It's what I was looking for, right? Like, I needed a Gmail-focused email app that I could keep on its own and have all the features that I want, and tick, 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 tick. I look forward to there being an iOS version, because then I wouldn't have to use the Gmail app on iOS.
I just opened it, and he has added print and print to PDF support, so I can switch to that now. That's very good news for me.
Yep. I love how many updates there are, and the app is just super good. It's excellent.
It's very good.
Still not hot on the name.
No.
Still not hot on the name. But application quality, very high.
So you have Relay Email and Spark, and you've spoken a lot about that, so you and Carrie can talk about sponsors.
Relay email and personal email in Spark.
Interesting. Why personal email in there?
Where else would I put it?
Oh, because you use iCloud for your personal email,
I
not
use iCloud for my personal email. And I also have another Gmail account for a business thing. But again, so here's the thing. It's all of my email is in Spark, except for Cortex stuff that's in Mimestream. And this is like similar to Notes and Craft, right? So like Notes has all of my notes for everything, like all personal stuff, all Relay stuff, all personal projects. It's all in Notes, and I just keep the Cortex stuff separate. And this is just because like it was like a different thing to all of the other stuff that I do in so many ways. Like if I would have been smarter, I would have started to sequester things earlier. Like this is like the Craft thing and the Mimestream thing. They are for me like tests of breaking out the various parts of my personal and professional life and keeping them in separate places. And I'm starting to think it's actually like a pretty good idea for me to have them all broken up. If you remember when I was talking about email a few weeks ago, I was floating the idea of having 3 email apps in use. I'm still thinking about what that would look like. But yeah, so that I like that. So maybe I'll do more of that in the future. So yeah, all of my email is in Spark except Cortex email, which is in my Mimestream.
Mimestream. Yep, I just replaced mail on my dock with it. I'll be using it. Okay, so
Timery,
because you track your time. Big time tracking boy.
Yep, I've been podcast recording connected for 1 hour, 38 minutes and 33 seconds, 34, 35, because of the menu bar thing, which is great. I love having it in the menu bar now too. It's great.
And then we go into media apps, is what I would call this next section.
Yeah, so we were kind of in communication, then we were in like information, right? Collecting and productivity and email. Now we're into Zoom, and then Logic Pro, then Adobe Audition.
Okay.
QuickTime.
Why QuickTime?
I knew you were going to say that. I gave you a pause because I knew you were going to say, why QuickTime?
Also, can we talk about how bad that icon is?
The QuickTime icon?
Yeah.
It's one of the worst ones.
It's so bad.
But I think that is because it shows how much Apple care about QuickTime, which is not.
Do you know they used to have a conference called QuickTime Live?
Yes. We've spoken about this at some point. I think you have a sweatshirt.
I've tried writing about it. Yes, I have a sweatshirt. I've tried writing about it, and it's hard to nail down exactly what it happened there, but they used to have a conference called QuickTime Live.
Zach is asking in the Discord if we're officially done with Skype for all recording. I think, 2 of my shows that I still do in Skype, but they are going to move to Zoom.
I haven't opened Skype in months.
I haven't opened, so Thoroughly Considered and Remaster. I just haven't swapped those over, but we will do that. Actually, no, Remaster we are doing on Zoom now, so it's just Thoroughly Considered is the only show that I do on Skype.
Come on, Studio Neat boys.
This is purely a me thing. Like, I just haven't moved
Told them.
Yeah. So with QuickTime, when I upload a show to our audio host, we get a URL, and I just open up QuickTime and throw the URL in and just make sure that it uploaded okay. This is where I do my final check of the audio.
Interesting. I do that in Safari.
I used to do it in Safari, but QuickTime's vastly better for being able to scrub and stuff. I like it for that. And so I just like open QuickTime, Command L. It's like open location. You just drop the link in. Audio hijack.
Yes.
Piezo.
Wait, why piezo then? Because it does everything audio hijack can do.
Yep. But what did I use? What did I used to have with Core Recorder?
Backup.
Yeah.
But you have Zoom.
But I don't use Zoom for everything.
Right. So you have piezo in there because you're still using Skype.
Yes.
So that would go away when Skype goes away.
Right. So it's like I always want to have 2 audio recordings. And also as well, for stuff which is higher risk, even if I'm using Zoom, I will also use piezo as well as audio hijack. So I mean, like, if I was doing something where if something terrible happened, it's going to be a problem for me, or it's going to be difficult to reschedule or whatever. If something got messed up, I might want to just get a second recording, because the Zoom audio quality is not good enough, really. It's fine in a pinch, but I would prefer to, not use it, so I will use piezo as well.
Then Forecast?
Well, Fission first.
No, I skipped one. Fission, yes.
Fission is also made by Rogue Amoeba. These 3 apps, Audio Hijack, Piezo, and Fission, are all Rogue Amoeba apps. Fission, what I like about it is I can't think of the right word. Let me go to their website, because obviously they do a better job.
It's a very simple audio editor.
Yeah, lossless MP3 editing.
Yes.
So what I like about it is if I had to say, like, cut something out of an edited file or whatever, could do that very easily and just save it. It doesn't need re-exporting or anything. I also do this for, like, if I need just a chapter of a show, you could just go in, you can open a chaptered MP3 in Fission and just delete all the other chapters, and you're just left with, it's very easy to do all of that. So it's good for me because I can just, like, handle an edited MP3 with Fission, and it does a really good job of it.
I use it on occasion for similar things, but not super often.
Mm-hmm. Forecast, this is for encoding into chaptered MP3s. Overcast, because M1 Life, baby.
Yeah, can't run that on my desktop.
Nope, you cannot. Your old Mac Pro. So I can check, like, so this is a thing where, like, before publishing a show, I upload it to Overcast backend and just, like, check that it's all good, check that the... I think maybe you or most people would be thoroughly surprised of how many checks I do of shows.
I basically just make sure the MP3 loads.
Yeah, I do a lot of checks. Like, when I'm in Logic, I check that it's lined up with the audio hijack track of all of the calls bounced down. I know you don't do that, which I hate so much. Then I check, before I put it into Forecast, I do a quick check of a few points in the file to make sure I exported okay. Then that's done.
I do that. I'll skim it, I skim it in Quick Look.
And then when I upload it to Libsyn, I do that same thing again to make sure that the MP3 encoded okay. And then once I've uploaded to Libsyn, which is our audio host, I open it in QuickTime and check that. Then I put that same URL into the Overcast backend thing for the uploads. This is something that any paying subscriber gets. And then it just drops it in Overcast, and then I can check that all the chapters are in properly and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
This is why, again, I hate saying this, but I can't remember the last time I had an error in my audio. And like all of these checks have just grown over time to us.
You know what you've done. Like, what are you doing?
I said this on an episode of Cortex recently and got away with it, so I've said it loads of times. Here's the thing. I'm not editing this episode, so I haven't jinxed myself for this episode. I'm a careful editor.
I mean, so am I. I have had mistakes, though. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. Mm-hmm. Everybody poops. What's next?
I don't know why you gotta do that.
It's a book. Have you read that book?
No, and I don't want to. I don't have children, so like, why would I? Why would I read
if you
that?
ever do, you will learn that everybody poops.
No, I already know this. This book isn't going to teach me that. I know
Everyone
that already.
Poops, excuse me.
Please stop. This is not the kind of thing I want to talk about. Thank you. Photos.
No, you skipped one. The Blender Boy.
Oh, Fusion Cast.
Yes, this is an app I think I told you about.
Yeah, I think you did. You can throw in an audio file, so like a podcast, and a thumbnail, and it will spit out a YouTube video.
As opposed to having to like use Final Cut or something way heavier than what you actually need.
Yep,
it's very good. It's by our friend
Guillermo Rambo.
Guillermo, yep.
Photos,
good choice.
Pixelmator Pro.
Okay.
I've recently moved from... I was like a real, did not want to let go of Pixelmator person. Like classic.
The normal, non-pro Pixelmator.
Because when Pixelmator Pro originally launched, if I'm remembering it rightly, it didn't have all of the features of Pixelmator.
Yes.
But I feel like the writing was on the wall for Pixelmator Classic. And so I thought to myself, I'm just going to give it a go. I don't know how they do this, but they have a trial, even though they're a Mac App Store version. You can get a trial from their website. That just expires. But if you want to buy the app, you have to go to the App Store to buy it.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it. I use it really only for making small images bigger with the machine learning stuff.
I don't really understand how to use Photoshop. Photoshop's too complicated for me for most things.
Yet it's next in your dock.
Wait, I'm not done. Yeah, but there's a reason. Just chill, all right? A lot of stuff I'm not very good at in Photoshop, but I understand how to do them in Pixelmator. And asterisk, I'm getting better at trying to teach myself some of these things in Photoshop as well. But for a lot of stuff, I really do like using Pixelmator instead. Like, for me, like if I'm creating something from scratch, like if I'm going to make chapter artwork or promo artwork for merchandise or whatever, I'll go to Pixelmator. That's where I will go. And then I have Photoshop for when, like, if there's something that only opens that way or will perform better in Photoshop, I'll use it there. And I'm trying to learn Photoshop, but like some of the tools, I just understand how to use them just vastly better with Pixelmator. So I have both of them, and I use them interchangeably a little bit, but I do use them sometimes for kind of specific things. So yeah, Photoshop was next in the dock. Then numbers.
Because you're a businessman.
So I have a couple of what are they called in numbers? Sheets that I had open enough, like maybe, I might have them open for a couple of days or whatever as I'm just dealing with some stuff, I found numbers to be at the end of my dock all the time. So I just added it. It's like,
okay,
you have been promoted now, numbers, to being here.
You have come out of the recent apps, which you don't use at all anymore.
Exactly. I never used it.
Okay.
And then this was the same for the final one, which is Parcel. Yep. We've all moved to Parcel, I think, from deliveries. Yeah. And this was not at all related to deliveries becoming a subscription app. I happily paid the subscription. I just, when we spoke about it some time ago, Parcel has a set of functions that I think are just better than deliveries. Part of them is the Parcel recognizes more of the carrier services that I use than deliveries does. And I think at that point, I think it's pretty obvious why I use it, right? It's like, it just doesn't have everything that I need. So, but the Parcel does.
I like the Amazon integration. So you don't have to put a weird Amazon tracking number in and copy and paste or whatever. You just signed your Amazon account.
that people really love for it, and I think that's fine. Like that's not really something that I need. Amazon does a pretty good job for me of telling me where things are. You know what I mean? It really is for me. Like there are just some services that I use here in the UK, or I get stuff coming from Europe, and deliveries can't do anything with them. It's like log in here to view the update. Like I have to tap it. It's basically just a link, but Parcel does it. It's like Royal Mail and DPD. They're two services I use here in the UK a lot, and deliveries can't do anything with them, but Parcel can. The only thing I wish Parcel would do, and I think I'm going to submit this as a request, is just let me put a URL in that I can just open whenever I want. I said this before, it's like freight deliveries and stuff if I ever worked with stuff like that.
I sent a request in today because in the little panel where you put in the name of what you're tracking, it doesn't use QuickType or autocorrect. And so mine are all horrendously misspelled.
And it capitalizes every word.
Yeah. So I sent them an email this morning, actually, said, hey, please consider this for an update.
And then I have a folder, which is downloads. Did you know it's called bin?
Yes, they changed it in Big Sur, I think.
At some point. I don't remember where it was. But
at some point recently, they changed it to bin for some language sets. And what is minimum? You used to have like that's your downloads folder. Oh, right. See, that looks like a minimized document because you don't have a folder representing your stack. Do you mean to make you a little Dropbox folder you could put there?
No, I don't want that. I don't want it. I like the preview. I'm going
to copy it into the connected Dropbox folder. Boop. There you go. That's our docs. I feel like we have a pretty good handle on things.
I feel like I was able to roast yours more than you roasted mine. I mean, all of my roasting was at the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And then we moved through it.
Yeah. The App Store is a very weighty subject.
Yes. But I feel like we needed to bring some order to your doc, which we did.
Do we want to wrap up? I think that's it.
I think that is it.
I think that's it. If you want to find links to the stories we spoke about or a whole bunch of Mac apps we mentioned, head on over to relay.fm/connected/358. While you're there, you can send feedback or follow up, especially if you're in Luxembourg. Let us know. If you have a hot take on dock placement, send it to Casey Liss.
Yeah, don't tweet. Yeah, definitely email it to him.
You can also join Connected Pro. You get a longer ad-free version of the show each and every week. It's a lot of fun. This week we spoke about warehouses and gutters.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. It was good. And we're going to pick titles. That's usually in there too. Always fun to debate those. While you're on the Relay website, go check out our friends over at Clockwise. They're also a Wednesday show. In fact, they're live on the live stream right before us. Mm-hmm. It is 4 tech topics, 4 fun hosts, and they're in and out in just 30 minutes. It's hosted by our friends Dan and Myke. They always have 2 awesome guests, and it's a great way to get some tech news in, really fun stories. I love the format. Relay.fm/clockwise, or search for Clockwise wherever you get your podcasts. Keep watching the clock.
Where do you get your podcasts?
Overcast.
I get mine from cassette tape.
Oh, I like the warm sound. Mm-hmm. You can find us online. Federico, remember, send him on Twitter a fish that's not a weird fish, a normal fish emoji. You can do that at Viticci, Viticci, and he is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net. They have some big stuff coming. Just keep an eye out for that. You can find Myke online as IMYKE. Myke hosts a bunch of other things here on Relay and other parts of the internet. Myke, what's something cool you're doing this week?
I don't know what to say when you ask me this question sometimes. I think we already spoke about it, but people should check out Monday's episode of Upgrade.
You can find me on Twitter as ISMH, and I also host a bunch of other shows here on Relay FM. We just published episode 600 of Mac Power Users. Not that I can take credit for most of those, but still a fun
you're on all
number.
of them. All right, you're on all of them?
Just in the last 2 years. Or 3 years. How long have it been on an MPU?
2 years and 6 days.
That doesn't seem right.
Can you imagine if I was right, though?
That would be an amazing skill.
Wouldn't it be great? It's like the kind of people where, like, you can drop a bunch of balls on the ground, slap them in the face, they can tell you how many there are immediately. You ever seen this kind of trick?
That's a very specific situation I don't think I've ever been in.
Well, next time we're together, I'll try it and see
No.
if we can do it. I won't tell you what is going to happen either.
Hit you in the face.
A bunch of bouncy balls, smack in the face. How many are there? Did you work it out yet?
No, I wasn't.
I was vamping to give you time.
Oh, I can do it. I can go to relay.fm/people.
That's why I was talking about all that nonsense, was to give you time. I'm a professional. So Zach has already told us it was January 6, 2019. So it's been 2.5 years.
I have been on 138 episodes of Mac Power Users.
You got a long way to go before you can be on more
358 connecteds, 21 flashbacks.
You haven't been on 350 episodes of Connected.
But I'm credited.
Well, you should fix that.
I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Pingdom, Indeed, and Mac Weldon. Until next time, Myke, say goodbye.
See ya.
Bye, y'all.